ओम शांति।
Om Shanti.
हम ड्रामा शब्द तो बहुत कालों से सुनते आ रहे हैं और शब्दों में भी इजीली
We've been hearing the word drama for many years now,
और यहाँ कुछ सीन
and it's easy to say the word drama. It just rolls off the tongue. And yes, when there are scenes of the drama that don't concern us, we can be detached observers. But when we actually are involved in the middle of that scene, we're playing the part in the middle of that drama, that scene, then there's another experience, there's another feeling, there are other emotions that are created at that time. You all must have seen that in the last 6 months, Daddy's health was quite delicate and fragile since the time that the meetings with Avyakt Bap Dada began. In this season, these last few months especially, there were many of Baba's children who couldn't meet Dadiji in the gathering during those Avyakt meetings, because because of Dadi's fragile health, we couldn't bring her into the hall to meet everyone, and Dadi's health was deteriorating. You all must have heard Dadi share that in December she was very happy to tell everybody that my 104th birthday is coming soon, and she had made it very firm for all of us that you mustn't celebrate my birthday, because when you celebrate my birthday, then there's a lot of, big commotion, lots of bands, music, and, garlands and all of that. And Daddy didn't really like that. And so we kept Daddy carefree. We said, Daddy, we're not going to celebrate your birthday in a big way. We're just going to keep a lovely class. And so that's what we'd done for her birthday. We just kept it a very simple affair in which Daddy could share spiritually and share a class. If we would have celebrated Daddy's birthday in a grand way, then people don't really listen to the experiences being shared, because picnic plates begin, people get up and down, they listen to the music, they get caught up in the entertainment. And so the spirituality that should be there in a birthday, that would have been lost. And so Daddy was quite particular about how she wanted her birthday to be celebrated. And so we celebrated her birthday in a very simple way. In the month of January, Daddy had a program that had been made to go to Karnataka, to go to Bangalore and places in Karnataka. And they had requested us for 1 year. And so we'd given them a date in January and said, Daddy will come to you. But even after Dadiji's 104th birthday, Daddy's health was fluctuating. And we used to say to Daddy, Daddy, there's a program, we've made this tour for Karnataka, you have to go to Ambika Ben there. And we used to say we used to ask Daddy, Daddy, should we cancel this program? And Daddy said no. Look, at the right time, Baba will make me okay. And I have seen this practically with my own eyes. Whenever there was a program of a tour that was made, even if the day before we were going, Daddy's health was delicate, it was not good, it was the day we were supposed to leave, and Daddy would say to us, we have to go today, don't we? And it would be like as if I was amazed. People are amazed by drama, events, but I'm amazed by Dadi because I used to think, gosh, what was she like before? And now what is she like today? She was ready to travel. And so whatever service Baba wanted to do through Dadi, he would get it done. Dadi would always have this interest to be available to Baba, because in one eye there would be Baba and the other eye would be Dadi. And so she said, make me ready, it's time to go. She had a lot of love for the yagya, because she used to say there'll be something that comes into the yagya if I go. There'll be an income for the yagya. Whenever she would use the word yagya, it was like she would be energized. Of course, Baba's name anyway would energize her, but the yagya was in her veins. She had a lot of concern for Baba's yagya. And so we made the program in Karnataka for her to travel, and it was a wonderful program. It was one of the best programs, and at that time 80 Kumaris had been surrendered. In other places that we traveled to, maybe 30, 40 Kumaris had been surrendered. But in Karnataka, they gained the maximum marks by surrendering 80 Kumaris. And they weren't just surrender ceremonies, but there were, openings of centers. We were going to retreat centers. And so there were very big programs we would take Dadi into, not any small programs. But when the program in Pune was made in February, Dadi had a thought. She'd said to us that I want to go back to Pune because she'd forgotten how big Jagadamba Bhavan had been made. She herself had inaugurated it. And in the last few months, many memories of Dadi we were watching were being merged. And so we felt that we definitely have to fulfill this hope of Dadi to go back to Pune. And so on the 27th, 28th of February, it was the program was made for Dadi, because Pune was Dadi's first place of service, and at the end Dadi also served this place and closed that account. And then after coming into Pune, she became a little, she slipped a little in the bathroom, but she didn't get hurt. She just toppled a little because she was a little bit weak. And then there was issues with Dadi's stomach. And because of that, we then took her to Ahmedabad, and we said to Niwaibai, we're taking her to Ahmedabad. We told Niwaibai that Dadi's stomach issue is resurfacing, so we have to take her back to Ahmedabad. And so they knew that we knew that we would take her there and then bring her back okay, because in the last few months we never really had to admit her. We had found a very good a doctor experienced in gastroenterology, Dr. Bhala, and he would take care of Dadi's stomach conditions. And so on the 3rd of February, we took Dadi to Ahmedabad, and then we realized when we arrived, her health was quite serious. And then Dr. Bala told us it's very important to admit Dadi in the hospital, because and he then spoke to another doctor, Dr. Dumra, and enabled Dadi to become hospitalized in Ahmedabad. And they took Dadi straight to ICU at that point, because they realized that the infection in Dadi's intestines had increased a lot. It had spread a lot. And so they had to start antibiotics, 2 or 3 varieties of antibiotics, and give Dadi antibiotics. And it was after the antibiotics that Dadi also started to become a little fragile and weak. When Dadi was in ICU, we never let her feel that she was in hospital. We used to switch on the awakening channel in front of her. We would switch on the Murli for her, put it in her ears so that she would feel that we were in the Diamond Hall or the conference hall. So we would enable her to have feelings that there are thousands of Baba's children in front of you, and we would show how the Murli was being read to them. Sometimes Moini Ben would read the Murli, sometimes Jayanti Ben would read, sometimes on the channels Newebai would give class. And when she would see all of this, she would smile. And at that time, we did feel she was a little okay. And we used to say, Dadi, Rajubai is remembering you a lot. Murli Department Rajubai, will you share about your health? Because the whole Brahmin family wants to know about your health. And okay, Dadi wasn't able to speak. She was whispering a little, but she actually recorded a message. She whispered a message, and I sent that on the first day to Rajubai and Anilbai. I said, this is the message we've got. Whatever it is, just send it for Baba's children to the whole world. And then the next day after that, she was more enthusiastic, and she recorded another message. And her voice became a little stronger. And then the third day, she was with full strength saying Om Shanti, Om Shanti. And you will have heard that in the message itself. Whenever I used to take Rajubai's name in front of Dadi, she would never say no. She had a lot of deep love for Rajubai because she knew that whatever I tell Rajubai, he will instantly send it to the whole world. And so whilst sleeping on the bed, Dadi continued to do service. And then we found out that Dadi wasn't really enjoying it very much in the hospital. So we requested the doctors, can we take her home? Because there's a difference how you care for someone at home, personal care at home, and how someone is cared for at hospital, because the way in which we wanted to care for her, we couldn't do that much at the hospital. So we requested the doctors that can we just take her to the center next door in Memnagar, next to the hospital. And the doctor was very strict with us, and he said, what are you going to do when you go to the center? She needs a hospital right now. So then we said, we will make an ICU ward in the center, we'll keep all the instruments there, we'll bring a doctor there, and we got all the equipment together. We had an Ambika Ben Center, various machines, ECG, Oxyflow, and I asked Brother Deepak to come and to set up a room, an ICU room in Memnagar Center. And then I suddenly remembered that we can't do without a doctor. So there was a Dr. Hina that had given service in Global Hospital for many years. So I suddenly remembered her. And it's like I'm not thinking anything, and I never felt like I'm doing anything, but I always had this feeling that Baba was giving me touchings. Whatever I had to do, Baba was giving me touchings. So Dr. Hina came into my mind, and I called her. She didn't say no, and she said, okay, this is my service, but I'll leave it and I'll come to you. And then I told the doctors at the hospital, look, we have all the equipment, I have a doctor, so we can take her to the center. Then they didn't refuse us, so we took Dadi back to Memnagar Center. And on the 17th of February, when she got discharged and we arrived in Memnagar Center, then We took her around, we used to make her sit, we used to feed her. That was still happening at that time. There is a video that's going viral in which Dadi is saying, well, it's Monday and now, and then Friday's coming, let's see what's happening, and Baba, Baba, Baba. And that video is of that time, of the 17th February. It was actually taken on the 11th of February. That message was recorded. So whatever Dadi would share, we would film a little video, and if we felt it was suitable, we would circulate it. So Dadi had a lot of love for everybody, and everybody had a lot of love for Dadi. So they wanted to know how she was. So we used to think, instead of people operating on hearsay, we should just give them a video. And so we'd actually circulated that video. And 3 days after that, Dadi became very delicate. And on that occasion, she didn't have a stomach problem. She had a breathlessness problem. So in short, she had been discharged twice, and then she had been readmitted into hospital twice. And then on the 17th of March, I felt as if she's slipping out of our hands. And when the doctors would come, doctors would say to Dadi, "How are you?" And she would point towards me and said, "Ask her." And all the doctors would start laughing, because the doctors would say, "You tell us. Do you have any difficulty? You speak." But she never used to say anything. She was just becoming very peaceful inside. And then the doctors that would come, it was as if they would be drawn to Dadi. And they would definitely pay a visit once a day or twice a day to see Dadi. They'd touch Dadi's feet, they'd hold Dadi's hand, they would say, "Dadi, you put your hand on our head." They would come to take those blessings from Dadi. And it was as if this isn't an ordinary soul, but like they treated Dadi as if she was like a saint, some guru. There was a lot of love that the doctors had. They didn't just treat her like an ordinary patient. They gave a lot of extra care. And the doctors would tell us that we don't understand what to do with her health now, because how to give treatment to somebody who's above 100 years old. In many books, there's a lot of things written that anybody above 80, you can treat them in this particular way, but somebody who's above 100, how do we treat her? How do we make her better? We don't know. And then on the 17th of March, her health became very delicate, and we called Janti-ben and said to Janti-ben, her condition's quite critical. And we sent a message in all places, circulated a message on that day, "Please, everybody, have yoga for Dadi," because Dadi always used to share in her classes that actually medicine only works 5% on me, but the rest is everybody's blessings. And this is absolutely practical. And so where medicine stops working, we requested everybody worldwide to have yoga so that Dadi could become okay. And then, yes, the situation was such on the 17th of March, she was almost ready to leave. And then on the 18th night at 10 p.m., at 17th, we got Dadi on a little ventilator, a BiPAP. We put her on so it could aid her breathing. I wasn't happy about it, because I know she didn't want that, and I didn't know how to free her from that. Dadi would often say to us and to Rajubai, "Write my will, that when I leave my body, then I don't want any of these pipes or ventilators or oxygen masks on me. I don't want anything on me. And I don't want to leave my body in a hospital, in this hospital. And so this is written in many places, and I've noted this often. So Dadi's pure wish inside, she didn't want to leave in such a way. She always used to say, if I live, how should I live? If I die, how should I die? She'd already fixed her living and her dying. And that's why I used to try and do everything according to her wishes. And so on the 18th, she was very, very weak. It was like a little baby. And she was sleeping there like a little baby. And I was giving her drops of water slowly. And then suddenly she was quite weak, but she put her hand and stroked my face. And I took her in my arms. And it was 10 p.m. at night. Brother Ketan was with me. And at that time, Pooja Ben, Dr. Pooja had come from Global Hospital and was with us also. She had done a lot of service for 2 years in Global Hospital. And 10 o'clock at night, Daddy was holding me. And no matter what happened, we understood Daddy's body language, what Daddy's intention was. And so at that time, I was with Ketan Bhai, and we brought her to we came to Memnagar Center at 11:15 at night. I came back to Memnagar. Daddy was in hospital. And I then spoke to Sri Devi, and I was getting quite afraid. And I said to Sri, I cried a lot, and I said to Devi, Daddy, it's like Daddy's crying out. You take me away from here. Hansa, you take me away from here. And so I said to Devi, tomorrow morning I'm going to take her to Mount Abu. So then next morning, 3 o'clock, I had a shower. And 6 o'clock the next morning, 19th morning, I went straight to hospital. And I said to Dr. Sudhir Shah, I have to take Dadi to Mount Abu, a hospital, because this is Dadi's last wish, that if she wants to leave her body, she wants to leave it in Abu. And then he heard it quite peacefully. And the doctor said, when do you want to take her? And he said, I want to take her at 12 o'clock after Dr. Dumra has come to see her, and then we'll leave. And then he said, okay. So then at 12 o'clock, a lot of doctors arrived together. Dr. Banarsi was also there because he's helped a lot in arranging all the different facilities with the ICU ambulance, the travel arrangements for Dadi. And then Dr. Dumra told us that the decision you've made is the right decision. Go and take Dadi. Because they knew that they can't do anything further for Dadi in the hospital. And internally, I was very firm and strong that we're not going to put Dadi on a ventilator long term, because what's the point of it? And she would just remain in bed and wishing to go. And that's why we didn't want to put her on a ventilator, and we wanted to take her back. So our senior brothers accepted this, the doctors also accepted it. And that day, on the 19th, as we were taking Dadi in the ambulance, my heart was almost broken. I was crying so much. I said, Baba, please let Dadi reach Abu, because that's her desire. I want to fulfill her desire of reaching Mount Abu. because I had the feeling that if Dadi leaves her body on the way in the ambulance, I won't be able to forgive myself that I wasn't able to fulfill Dadi's wish. So my heart had shrunk a lot, and I was remembering Baba a lot. And we then brought Dadi up the mountain to the hospital. We brought her in, and as she arrived in the hospital, there was the feeling that we bathed Dadi very well so that all the previous hospital germs and energy would go. So we gave her a beautiful sponge bath, and we refreshed her on arrival in Global Hospital. And it was like looking after a little child, lifting her arms, her legs, feeding her. And so then the physiotherapist would come every day and enable Dadi to have some exercise, encourage Dadi to have. And then the very 2 days later, it was like Dadi's BiPAP, the little temporary ventilator, it was removed. The oxy pipe was also removed, and I thought, wow, she's getting better coming here. And we were getting really happy that she was improving when she'd arrived. And this is exactly what she wanted. The piping was removed, the little ventilators were removed, and internally I was saying so much thanks to Baba, that all of these pipes and machines she was being liberated from them, and she looked like she was becoming normal. And then on the 26th of March, the day before she actually passed away, there was a nose pipe put in Dadi so we could feed her through it, because she couldn't eat much. But I was very lucky that right till the end, I managed to feed Dadi like a little baby, a little spoonful of something. I fed her in the morning, I fed her in the evening, and she was smiling. She was smiling very softly. And you could see that she looked like she was getting better. And then, of course, drama has its own plan, Baba has his own plan, Dadi has her own plan. And I've observed in the last 1.5 months, Dadi's had a very deep connection with Baba. And it's almost like she's written a script of how she wants to leave her body. And so all the planning happened according to that script that she wanted. She could have left her body whenever, when she was being discharged in the ambulance, but no. If she left her body on the way, then everybody from abroad and Bharat would have arrived here. And so much elaborate, because what would we have not done for Dadi's final rites as a family? But Dadi never wanted any of this. She never had any of this. She didn't like big crowds. She didn't want any decorations, any flowers. She was very beyond all of this. So that night, 26th nighttime, around midnight, Dadi's stomach started to fluctuate a lot. Her breathing was getting heavy, and they gave her a little oxygen. The doctor arrived, and then rubbing her hands. And then I immediately took Dadi in my arms. And then I cried. I said, Dadi, don't leave us and go. And then Dadi was very beyond at that point. And she did what she had to do according to her plan and the drama plan. And she said goodbye.
नस नस में था, उसके हर श्वास में था,
that
जो प्रैक्टिकल
Baba's knowledge was in her every vein, every breath.
जो मुरलियाँ चलती थी,
She demonstrated the proof of practical gyan in through her life.
स्वरूप थी. कोई नहीं कह सकते है कि
Dadi was the embodiment of the Murlis.
कोई नहीं कह सकते हमने बाबा
Nobody can ever say we didn't see Sakar Baba in practice, because Baba makes one or another Dadi's instrument in front of us to give us the feeling of himself so that we can see how to follow Baba. And so Dadi, through her life, through her words, through her actions, she has taught us a lot. And when Dadi's health used to be delicate, then it was as if she was preparing me. Hansa, my body is quite fragile, and so you have to look after yourself also. You have to fill yourself with a lot of strength. Don't ever feel yourself to be alone. I'm always going to be with you. I'll stay with you. Dadi always used to say to us, I don't want the doors of Shakti Bhavan to ever remain closed. This was her deeply internal wish. Whoever wanted to come, they should come and experience Baba, experience Dadi, and then go. So everybody had a lot of bhavna for Dadi. For the last 4 years, I had so much happiness inside that the way in which I felt we could honor Dadi and enable her to be independent, to do so much service. Because that happened, because here in Bharat people would feel, well, this is a Dadi from abroad. She's a Videshi Dadi, the Dadi from the foreign lands. And I never liked that word, because they used to feel, can we come closer? And I used to say, she's not the Dadi from abroad, she's a world Dadi, Dadi of the world. Because Dadi Prakash Maniji would also scold me and say, don't say my Dadi, she is the Dadi that belongs to the world. And so this is Vishwa ki Dadi, the Dadi that belongs to the whole world. And so Dadi toured, yes, the whole of the foreign lands, and Dadi also then had the opportunity to tour the whole of Bharat. And all of Baba's children in Bharat came close to Dadi, and who Dadi is, what she is, they were able to see practically with their own eyes. They were able to experience, they were practically able to listen to. And in the last 4 years, even the residents here in Madhuban, organizing small department groups to meet Dadi, effort maker groups to meet Dadi. Rajubai had a group of effort makers. He would meet it. Dadi's favorite place was the kitchen. And so it was reconnecting Dadi with all the residents in Madhuban. Dadi's favorite place was, of course, the kitchen. She would like to eat and also feed others. In the evening, Dadi would sometimes prepare a little something, and she loved to feed Toli. She loved to offer bhog. She loved to prepare food. This was a favorite topic of Dadi's. And so we used to make her happy. And we used to take her to different departments. She used to feed the brothers in their mouth. And so today we see that I get a lot of strength and I get a lot of upliftment from all the brothers here in Shantivan, because they know how they come here with love. because every day we offer bhog to Dadi now. And Dadi's, so many brothers come forward saying, we want to make this for Dadi, we want to make this for Dadi. And so every day as we offer bhog, the bhog plate is overflowing with such a variety. And I'm so happy inside to see this, because this was the internal interest and wish that Dadi had of feeding others in a full way. And every day she's being fed such a variety of Brahma Bhojan. And there's this feeling that she's sitting with us, she's feeding us, and she's sustaining us. And so in this way, it's my fortune to have been able to stay with Dadi for so many years, look after her. I was a Kumari, and she has made us, stretched us and made us be big and brought us close to the yajna. Dadi brought us very, very close to the yajna and to all the other Dadis in the yajna, to all the senior brothers also. It's like we came very close to the yajna because of Dadi. When Dadi Ji was there, Dadi Ji would always say to us, you go and say good morning to Dadi Janki first, and then come to me. Go to Ishu Dadi. Dadi Janki would say this. Dadi Janki would say, go and say good morning to Dadi Prakashmani first, go and say good morning to Ishu Dadi first. And she would make us run around saying good morning to everybody before we could go and say good morning to her. So, I'm sitting in front of you today, it's because of Dadi. Otherwise, as a Kumari, I could have been anywhere else. But I'm here today because of Dadi, because of Dadi's bhavna, because of Dadi's faith in me, and Dadi's trust in me. That has kept me going till today. People would often ask Dadi's age. Dadi has such a high age, and how do you get the courage to work with somebody at such an age? And I said, well, it's been Dadi's trust that's enabled me to, it's been Dadi's trust in me to serve Dadi. Om Shanti.